Hello and welcome to Math with Mr. P. Today we're dealing with 6th grade math, chapter 1, lesson 3. We are dealing with rates. Today we will be going over rate, and unit price. Before we begin, let's make sure that we do this vocabulary startup and have this as part of our notes. If you're in my class, you can pause and write these down, or you can go on the OneNote and actually copy these down from there. So let's deal with fractions first. A fraction is a number that represents part of a whole. Bear with me here. My handwriting is not going to be great because, again, the program does not let me write very small. The O won't show up. There we go. It's part of a whole or part of a set. Examples can be found here, which include proper fractions and improper fractions. Remember, a fraction can be part of a whole or part of a set. Proper fractions will always be part of a whole, and improper fraction will show you that it is a whole and then part of a whole, or in this case, part of a set. A ratio. I don't know why some letters showed up there. A ratio is a comparison of two quantities by division. Quantities by division. So, saying 2 out of 3, 2 to 3, 2 to 3, or 2 to 3. Remember, we talked about the 3 different ways of writing ratios. A rate is a ratio comparing two quantities It will not let me write today. There we go. Comparing two quantities with different kinds of units. Oh my goodness. There we go. So, for example, traveling 36 miles in 3 hours, or saying 36 miles for every 3 hours, $26 for 5 bags, or 19 songs in 5 minutes. That is a rate. You're comparing two different quantities with different kinds of units of measurement. So, if you're in a car and you're traveling, or going a certain speed, you would be traveling 36 miles per every 3 hours. Paying $26 for 5 bags, you would figure out how much one bag is worth, and so on. That is a rate. A unit rate is when you figure out one. So a unit rate is a rate, if it will let me write, a rate that is simplified. Let me see if I can just write it with the mouse. Simplified so that the denominator, it has a denominator of 1. So 12 miles per hour, $5.20 per one bag, 3.8 songs in 1 minute. We actually simplified those down here. So that is a unit rate. When would we use unit rate? For example, jobs. Say you worked 3 hours, and in those 3 hours you got paid $75. My ratio would be 75 to 3. If I wanted to figure out how much I got paid in 1 hour, I would just divide both of these by 3. Because if I got paid $75 in 3 hours, I can divide those 3 hours by 3. That would make 1 hour. 75 divided by 3 would be 25. So I actually got paid $25 every hour. And this would be my unit rate. My unit rate is I'm making $25 per hour. Let's look at a different example here. Real world link. Desiree typed a 15-character text message in 5 seconds. Write the rate Desiree typed as a fraction. So she typed 15 characters in 5 seconds. What operation would you use to write the fraction in simplest form? Now, this fraction is an improper fraction. We know how to simplify fractions. We're going to use division. Whether we divide by a common factor or we divide numerator by denominator. Typically, to solve this, I would do 15 divided by 5, which would give me 3. This may confuse some of us, because when we deal with unit rates, we want a denominator of 1. So what they want us to do is to divide these both by 5 to figure out how much she would type in 1 second. 5 seconds divided by 5 will give me 1. 15 divided by 5 will be 3. While the answer here is still 3, it's a whole number. So you need to remember to put it over 1. Or you can do it this way and just get 3 over 1. So she technically is typing up 3 characters per second. Every second she is typing up 3 characters. And that's what this is for. Find a unit rate. A rate is a ratio comparing two quantities of different kinds of units. A unit rate has a denominator of 1 unit when the rate is written as a fraction. To write a rate as a unit rate, divide the numerator and the denominator of the rate by the denominator. So, just like we did in the last example, our ratio was 15 to 5. 15 characters for 5 seconds. That's our rate. Our unit rate would be to divide 5 by 5 to get 1, and 15 by 5 to get 3. So her unit rate is she typed up 3 characters every 1 second. Another example. Samantha picked 45 oranges in 5 minutes. Write this rate as a unit rate. Write the rate as a fraction. Compare the number of oranges to the number of minutes, then divide. So right here, 45 oranges in 5 minutes. That is what she picked. We want to find out the unit rate, so I'm going to divide 5 by 5. That will give me 1. 45 divided by 5 will give me 9. Therefore, her unit rate is she can pick 9 oranges per minute. And that's all there is to that. Now let's look at an example where it's not that simple. The Australian dragonfly can travel 18 miles in 30 minutes. How far can the dragonfly travel in 1 minute? They want us to find out 1 minute. So our unit needs to be 1. When we write the fraction, we put 18 miles over 30 minutes. I want the minutes on the denominator because we want to find out what 1 minute is, hence why minutes are the denominator. I can't divide 30 by 30. I mean, I could and get 1, but 18 divided by 30 would give me a whole different number. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to look at the 18 and the 30. I'm going to look for a common factor that I can simplify with. So same idea as we have been dealing with our fractions. Our fraction is 18 over 30. Ignore the words, ignore everything else. Common factors that they would share would be 2, believe 3, and the biggest one would be 6. If I divided both of these by 6, like it shows here, I'm going to get 3 over 5. This is not a unit rate, however. This means that they traveled 3 miles in 5 minutes. The ratio 3 to 5 cannot be simplified to a whole number rate. It can be written as 3 over 5 miles, or a unit rate of 3/5 mile to 1 minute. So let's explain that in English. It cannot be simplified down to be a unit rate. What it's saying is it's going to travel 3 miles in 5 minutes. Hence how we got 3 over 5. If I wanted to simplify this more, 3 over 5, I would still be dividing this by 5. That would give me 1 minute, but this would now be 3 divided by 5, or fraction of 3/5. It's going to travel 3/5 of a mile in 1 minute, is how we got there, if that makes sense. So the other way we could have done this is this. Travels 18 miles in 30 minutes. If I had divided these both by 30, I definitely would have gotten 1. 30 divided by 30 give me 1. My top number would have been 18 divided by 30, which still was what we started with. And if I find a common factor of 6, the lowest one is going to be 3 over 5. 18 divided by 6 is 3. 30 divided by 6 is 5. It's still going to be 3/5 of a mile. It will not be a full number. So what I'm trying to say is when we try to find unit rate, it's not going to be totally even. So let's look at what would happen with a calculator. 3 divided by 5 gives me 0.6. If I had done 18 divided by 30, 0.6. It would have been 0.6 over 1. Another way of saying 0.6 is 6/10. Divide that by 2, 3/5. Now, the question did not say that it needed to be as a fraction. Yes, it did. Right, the rate is, that's the directions. So let's look at the question. How far can the dragonfly travel in 1 minute? Nowhere in here does it say it needs to be written as a fraction in simplest form. So if you told me that it could travel 6/10 of a mile in 1 minute, that would have been appropriate if you had done this way. Let's look at a few got it questions, and then we're going to look at some more examples. Amma downloaded 35 songs in 5 minutes. Now, I know you guys are going to say, how old is this curriculum? Who downloads songs? People used to download songs, so just go with this. How many songs did she download per minute? So our unit rate, 35 songs in 5 minutes, correct? We want our unit rate to be denominator of 1. In order to make 5 1, I'm going to divide by 5. I'm going to divide by 5 here. 35 divided by 5 will give me 7. 7 songs per minute, 7 over 1, and then you're going to write out the sentence. She downloaded 7 songs per minute. And that's it for that one. Jonathan is baking several loaves of bread to sell in his bakery. He used 9 cups of water and 12 cups of whole wheat flour. How much water was used per cup of flour? So let's read this carefully. He used 9 cups of water and 12 cups of whole wheat flour. How much water was used per cup of flour? So cup of flour is going to be our denominator. So our fraction is going to be 9 over 12. This one's going to be an easy one. We want our denominator to be 1. I need to divide both of these by 12. This is going to be 9 over 12. 9/12, because 9 divided by 12, I don't know what it is, so I'm going to make it a fraction. 9/12. 9 and 12 have 3 in common. If I divide both of these by 3, it will become 3/4. So my answer to this is for every 1 cup of flour, she uses 3/4 cups of water. 3/4 cups of water. Now I know I probably lost some of you guys, so let's back this one up really quick and let's break this one down little by little. So the question asks, Jonathan is baking several loaves of bread in his bakery. He uses 9 cups of water and 12 cups of whole wheat flour. Basically, for every loaf of bread, he uses 9 cups of water and 12 cups of whole wheat flour. Maybe per loaf, maybe for all the loaves, it doesn't matter. All they're saying is he's using 9 cups of water and 12 cups of whole wheat flour. How much water was used per cup of flour? Flour now has to be our denominator because we want to know what the denominator is as a unit. So this dictates that it's going to be 9 over 12. 9 cups of water over 12 cups of whole wheat flour. This is saying for every 9 cups of water, they're using 12 cups of flour. Same the opposite way. For every 12 cups of flour, there are 9 cups of water. They want us to know if he uses 1 cup of flour, how much water does he need? We need to simplify this. 12 can only become 1 if I divide by 12. 9 divided by 12 is going to give me a small number or a fraction. It's the same thing as saying 9 over 12, because all fractions are division problems. Instead of me saying 9/12 of a cup, I'm going to simplify this. I'm going to divide both of these by 3, because both have a common factor of 3. That will give me 3/4. Therefore, it's going to be 3/4 over 1, and I know that looks weird, but my answer is 3/4 cups of water, or cup of water, per cup of flour. I'm going to try to get to the eraser. There we go. And we'll do example 3, and we're going to talk about unit price. An adult's heart beats about 2,100 times every 30 minutes. A baby's heart beats about 2,600 times every 20 minutes. How many more beats does a baby's heart beat in 60 minutes than an adult's heart? That question is a lot. So we're going to find unit rates first. An adult's has 2,100 beats per 30 minutes. If I were to divide both of these by 30, I would get 70 beats per minute. Babies are 2,600 or 2,600 beats per 20 minutes. If I divided these both by 20, I would get 130 beats per 1 minute. So hopefully we're on the same page here. Remember, dividing both of these by the denominator. 30 divided by 30 will give me 1. 100 divided by 30 gives me 70. 2,600 over 20. 20 divided by 20 gives me 1. 2,600 divided by 20 will give me 130. Using the unit rate for each, determine the number of beats in 60 minutes. So if a human's heart beats 70 beats per minute, in 60 minutes, it'll beat 4,200 beats. If a baby's heart beats 130 beats per minute, we're going to multiply it by 60. It will beat 7,800 beats in that hour. Find the difference. So I'm going to take that 7,800 beats per hour minus the 4,200 beats per hour. I know I probably said per minute up here, per hour. So a baby's heart beats 3,600 more times in 60 minutes than an adult's heart. We're going to deal with more of these multiple step ones later. And we're going to go ahead and skip this one, and we're going to talk about unit price right now. You can use what you know about unit rates to find a unit price. The unit price is the cost per unit. To write a price as a unit price, divide the numerator denominator by the rate of the denominator. So this is still the same idea as unit rate, but this is going to deal with money because the word price is in it. So the example here they give us is 36 tickets, or $36 for 4 tickets. If I divided these by 4 to find out what one ticket costs, 36 divided by 4 is 9. So each ticket costs $9. Example, 4 potted plants cost $88. What is the price per plant? 4 plants cost $88. They want the cost per plant, hence why the plant is the denominator. I need to divide 4 by 4 to get 1, and I need to divide 88 by 4 to figure out what the plant price is per plant. I divide by 4, I will get $22. So the price per potted plant is 22. I know that was a lot of information, and hopefully, it wasn't too bad. Let's actually look at the homework before we get into this, so I can help you guys with some of these. Number 1's pretty easy. Write the rate as a unit rate. So 3 inches of rain in 6 hours. They want to find out how many 3 inches of rain in 6 hours. I'm assuming we're going to try to figure out how many inches of rain per hour. So, number 1, 3 inches of rain per 6 hours. If I divide both of these by 6, I'm going to get 6 divided by 6, 1. This will become 3 over 6. Or if I divide both of these by 3, since they both have 3 in common, it'll be 1/2 inch of rain per hour. I'm going to say of rain. And that should be my answer. And let's look at our answers. For number 1, 0.5 inches, or the same thing as saying 1/2. You could have done that. Let me show you guys what would have happened if I had just divided 3 by 6. If I had divided 3 by 6, 6 cannot go into 3, annex a 0 after putting a 0 in a decimal. 6 will go into 35 times. So I still could have divided by 6. That would have given me 1 and 0.5. So 0.5 or 1/2 would have been the correct answer. For the rest of the questions, I think we're going to hold off here. I think you guys are going to go over these with me in class this week if we have any questions. As always, I'm Mr. P. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments, or if you're in my class, message me on Teams or shoot me an email. And that's it for Chapter 1, Lesson 3. Until next time.